There's a new dawn in the land of the rising sun. Japan have broken into the top 10 in the IRB rankings for the first time after 10 consecutive international wins. But this new Japan is actually a vintage one.
I coached back here in '96 in Japan. I always wanted to come back and see if we could change the way Japan played and go back to their more traditional style of play. Now, when you played Japan 30 or 40 years ago, they'd do quick two-man line-outs, quick scrums and move the ball, and they went away from that and copied other teams in the world, so we're actually going back to the past.
Japan have enjoyed an outstanding June and are beginning to make their mark on the world game. For some time, Japan has been a haven for foreign imports, but Shota Horie has reversed that trend.
If you look at any side that's done well in the world, that's changed where they've been, such as Argentina, probably the best example. They had 80% of their side playing Europe. And when you're a tier 2 country, your domestic rugby's not strong enough, and it's not strong enough in Japan. So we need our best players to be playing at a high level, and he's gone there and done really well for the Rebels. And I reckon he's the first player in Japan who can be generally world-class player. He's a gifted player.
Horie is nothing if not brutally honest about his reasons for getting into rugby.
I was fat, and there weren't many occasions for me to shine, and because of my large body, it became an advantage to me.
As the Osaka-born hooker progressed through the ranks overseas, the burden of expectation back home began to weigh heavily on him.
I felt the pressure in the first year, but it's taken 6 years to make it to Super Rugby. My dream came true, but I've always had it in the back of my mind that I'm representing Japan. I've always felt that I need to play as a representative of Japan. The pressure is still there. It's not overwhelming, but keeping me on my toes.
Before moving to Australia, he had a stint playing for Otago alongside compatriot Fumiaki Tanaka, now with the Highlanders, and he believes more of his countrymen could achieve similar success.
Many would ask how the scrum is formed in Super Rugby, or how it is in Super Rugby. I get asked about it a lot, and I say it's not all that different. The strategy is better here in Japan, but when it comes to ability of each individual, that's different. The individual skill is higher in Super Rugby players, so that's something Japanese players can develop. No one really pays much attention to the Japanese top league. So how can you get an agent? If you're serious about playing abroad, then you have to get an agent. Depending on how much you really want it, comes down to how courageous you are, and that depends on how much passion you have. And if you put your heart into it, it will determine if you're capable or not to play abroad in Super Rugby or in the top leagues around the world.
Leaving Japan to play professional rugby abroad took courage, but the benefits, both personal and to his country, are now clear to see.
If I wasn't playing rugby, I think I'd just be a salaryman in a 9-to-5 job. Just a suit. I wouldn't be jet-setting around the world. I think my life would be rather dull. Because of rugby, I've been in the spotlight, to speak on TV like this, travel to many countries and meet so many people. I've been lucky enough to experience so much, and this isn't the end. I want to experience so much more. We've just had a baby, so I'd like to share my experiences with my kid and with other players. I'd love to share my stories with everyone.